Have you ever sat in silence, staring at the ceiling, wondering when life will get easier? Maybe you've cried quietly so no one could hear, telling yourself to be strong, but deep down you were tired of waiting, tired of pretending, tired of always being the one who holds it together. You try to smile, you try to stay patient, but it's heavy, and sometimes you wonder, does anyone see how hard it is? Does anyone truly understand the storms inside your heart? There are moments in life when the weight feels unbearable. A dream that never came true, a person you gave your heart to who walked away, plans you built with love only to watch them fall apart. And sometimes the hardest part is when you feel distant from Allah, like you've been praying and trying but nothing is changing. You whisper your dua late at night, hoping it reaches the heavens, but all you hear is silence. And you begin to ask yourself, is something wrong with me? Has Allah forgotten me? But my dear brother, my dear sister, no, you are not forgotten, you are not invisible, you are not left behind. What you're feeling is not a punishment, it's a process. Allah is closer to you than anyone else ever could be. Even in the moments when your heart aches and no one understands, He does. He sees every tear, He hears every whisper, He knows every fear you hide behind your smile. You don't have to carry this pain alone anymore. You don't have to figure everything out. You just have to remember this. Leave it in Allah's hands. Because when you try to control everything, it breaks you. But when you let go and trust Allah, it heals you. This world was never meant to be perfect, and neither are we. Sometimes things won't make sense. Sometimes people will hurt you. Sometimes life will break your heart. But that's not the end of your story. That's just the moment where you fall into suhood, where you surrender, where you say, Ya Allah, I don't know what's next, but I trust you to carry me through it. So if you're hurting right now, if you're lost, confused, or tired of trying, stay with me. I want to take you on a journey, not just through words, but through hope, through healing, through a reminder that Allah's plan is always better than yours, even when it feels delayed. What is written for you will find you, and what is written for you, you are exactly where you're meant to be, even if it doesn't feel that way right now. Just breathe, just hold on, and trust that Allah will work it out. Sometimes the hardest part of life isn't the struggle itself, it's the feeling that you're alone in it. You look around and everyone else seems to be moving forward, they're smiling, succeeding, living the life you keep praying for. And you wonder, why not me? You try to stay grateful, but deep down your heart aches for something more, something different. Maybe it's peace, maybe it's love, maybe it's just a break from the pain that keeps coming in waves, even when no one else sees it. We all go through moments where we question our worth. Maybe you failed at something you worked hard for, an exam, a job, a relationship. Maybe you feel like you're constantly giving but never receiving. You show up for others, but when you're struggling, no one shows up for you. Or maybe it's that heavy, empty feeling that creeps in during the quiet hours of the night. That feeling of being distant from Allah. You want to feel connected, but you just don't know how to find your way back. Let me tell you something that's not said enough. Your pain is not a sign that Allah is displeased with you. Your heartbreak is not proof that you've done something wrong. Sometimes we go through hardship not because we're being punished, but because we're being prepared. What you're carrying right now, the sadness, the confusion, the uncertainty, it's not the end of your story. It's the part where Allah is shaping your soul. It's the part where your faith grows in silence, where your patience is polished through tears, and where your trust in Allah is strengthened even when life feels out of control. Trusting Allah doesn't mean you'll never feel anxious. It doesn't mean you'll never cry again. It means that deep inside your chest, there's a quiet peace that whispers, I don't understand this, but I believe there's wisdom in it. And that kind of trust, it's not easy, it's not instant, it's something you build day by day, moment by moment. You build it when you pray, even while you're crying. When you hold on to hope, even after a door closes. When you keep making dua, even though it hasn't been answered yet. Sometimes what breaks us is not the pain itself, but our need to control everything. We want to know the outcome before we take the first step. We want guarantees before we trust. But life doesn't work that way, and neither does faith. Faith is trusting the unseen. Faith is walking through the dark with your hand in Allah's hand, even when you can't see the road ahead. It's knowing that even when life feels out of order, Allah's plan is still perfect. So take a deep breath. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to pretend to be okay. All you have to do is turn to Allah, just as you are. with your doubts, your fears, your tired heart. Speak to him like a friend. Cry to him like a child who's been hurt. He's not distant, he's not angry, he's waiting for you to let go of everything weighing you down and finally place it in his care. Let me take you to the story of a young boy who was betrayed by the very people who were supposed to protect him. A boy with a pure heart, a beautiful soul, and a dream that felt too big to understand. His name was Yusuf. He didn't ask for trouble, he didn't hurt anyone, yet he was thrown into the darkness of a well by his own brothers. Not strangers, not enemies, but family. Can you imagine the heartbreak, the confusion, the feeling of, why would the people I love do this to me? He was left alone in that well. No light, no comfort, no explanation, just silence and tears. And maybe at that moment his heart cried out in a way that words never could. Maybe he looked up at the sky, hoping anyone would come. But even in that deep, hidden place, he was not forgotten. Allah was with him. Allah sent help. Not right away in a way that he could see, but in the unseen, working quietly, gently, guiding the path that would one day lead to greatness. Yusuf didn't go from the well to the palace overnight. No, before he saw relief, he was sold into slavery. He was taken from one test to another. And just when life began to settle, he was tested again, this time with lies, accusations, and prison. Imagine that. You stay honest, you protect your dignity, you do the right thing, and still people turn against you. Still you're punished, still you're left alone. How many of us have felt that kind of pain? When you gave your best and it still wasn't enough. Yusuf didn't lose his faith, not in the well, not in slavery, not in prison. His trust in Allah was not tied to his circumstances. He knew that even if people abandoned him, Allah never would. Even when the world was unfair, he held on. Even when no one believed him, he knew that Allah did. That's what kept him strong. That's what helped him rise. And after all those years of silence, of waiting, of crying in the dark, not just any door, but a door to honor, to leadership, to reunion, and to healing. When Yusuf finally met his brothers again, the very ones who hurt him, he didn't take revenge. He didn't say, you ruined my childhood. He didn't say, look at me now. He said something so beautiful, so full of light. It softens the hardest of hearts. He said, no blame on you today. Can you imagine that level of peace, that level of healing? To forgive those who try to destroy you, not because they deserve it, but because your heart has been healed by Allah. That's the power of patience. That's the beauty of trust. When you leave your pain in Allah's hands, He doesn't just mend your life, He transforms it. What others meant to break you, Allah uses to raise you. What was meant to destroy you becomes the very reason you grow. Yusuf's story is not just history. It's a mirror, a reflection of our own lives. We may not be in a well or a prison, but we know what it's like to feel stuck, to be misunderstood, to be betrayed. And we also know the longing, the deep longing for relief, for peace, for a new chapter. So when you feel like everything is against you, remember Yusuf. When you're hurt by people you trusted, remember Yusuf. When your heart is heavy and you don't know how much more you can take, remember the well, the prison, the years of silence, and then remember the ending. Because if Allah could bring him out of all that with more honor, more beauty, and more peace than he ever imagined, then Allah can do the same for you. You see, the story of Yusuf is not just about pain, it's about purpose. It's not just about struggle, it's about surrender. Allah could have prevented every part of that pain, but He didn't. Not because He didn't love Yusuf, but because He was preparing him for something greater, for something better. And that same preparation is happening in your life too. You may not see it now, but every tear, every setback, every silent prayer, it's shaping you into something beautiful. You might not be sitting at the bottom of a well, but maybe your soul feels just as lost. Maybe you're surrounded by people, yet you feel unseen. Maybe you've been carrying the weight of a broken relationship, a job that fell through, a dream that keeps slipping away, and just like Yusuf in the darkness, you've asked, why me? You've wondered if this is how your story ends, in confusion, in pain, in silence. But I promise you, it's not the end, not when you still have Allah. You see, betrayal today doesn't always come from brothers throwing you into a well. Sometimes it's the friend you trusted with your heart who turned away when you needed them most. Sometimes it's the family member who misunderstood you, judged you, or hurt you with words that still echo in your mind. Sometimes it's the people who were supposed to be your support, but instead became your test. And it's okay to admit that it hurts. It's okay to feel shaken. Even the prophets felt sadness. Even the closest ones to Allah cried. But here's what makes all the difference. They didn't stay broken. They didn't let the darkness define them. They turned to Allah in every single moment of despair. And you can do that too. You can turn the same heartbreak that keeps you awake at night into the reason you wake up for prayer. You can turn your pain into a bridge that leads you back to Allah closer than you've ever been before. Because that's what pain is meant to do. It's not there to crush you, it's there to guide you. How many times have you felt like you're doing everything right, but life keeps getting harder? You're praying, you're making dua, you're trying to be patient, and still the tests come. Still the loneliness lingers, and you wonder if you're doing something wrong. But maybe, just maybe, you're doing everything right. Maybe the test isn't there to punish you, it's there to purify you, to elevate you, to protect you from something you can't yet see. Because what feels like rejection might actually be protection. And what feels like a delay might be the setup for something far better. Yusuf waited for years in silence, yet his ending was filled with honor and light. That's not just a story, that's a promise that if you trust Allah in the dark, He will not leave you there. He sees every injustice, He counts every tear, He knows the words you couldn't say out loud, and just like He raised Yusuf from the pit to the palace, He can raise you from where you are to a place you never thought possible. But you have to trust, not when it's easy, not when it's obvious, but especially when it's hard. So when you're sitting alone in your room, replaying everything that went wrong, stop and remember, this pain is not forever. This season is not your final chapter. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. The one who brought you into this test is the same one who will bring you out of it stronger, softer, wiser, and more connected to Him than ever before. Your heart might be tired, but Allah is never tired of healing you. Never tired of hearing your voice in dua. Never tired of giving you another chance, a better door, a fresh start. When your heart is aching and the world feels heavy, sometimes all you want is a way to feel whole again. You want to breathe without the tightness in your chest. You want to stop crying over the same pain. You want peace, not just outside, but deep inside your soul. And the truth is that kind of healing doesn't come from people or places or even time. It comes from turning back to the one who created your heart in the first place. Allah, the one who never tires of comforting His servants. Start with prayer. Even if you've been distant, even if it's been a while, even if you don't feel worthy, just come back. Not with perfection, but with sincerity. Prayer isn't just a ritual, it's your soul whispering, I still believe. It's standing in front of Allah and saying, here I am, broken but trying. And sometimes the most powerful prayer is the one where your heart speaks more than your lip. When you stand in sujood, know that you are placing your pain on the ground in front of the most merciful, and He hears you every single time. Then there's dua, the private, quiet conversations with Allah that no one else hears. Talk to Him the way you would speak to a friend who truly understands. Tell Him what you're scared of, what you're tired of, what you're hoping for. Tell Him everything, because He already knows, but He loves it when you come to Him willingly. There's no shame in crying, there's no weakness in asking. The Prophet, peace be upon him, would raise his hands in dua until they were tired. And if the most beloved to Allah cried to Him, then how beautiful is it when you do the same? If your heart feels anxious, fill your day with remembrance. Sometimes healing doesn't come through big changes, but through small, quiet moments. Whispering words that bring your heart back to Allah. Saying, you are with me. Saying, you know best. Let those gentle reminders replace the noise in your mind. The more you remember Allah, it's not about fancy phrases, it's about honest connection. You'll be amazed how peace begins to return when you let His remembrance fill your day. Gratitude is also a healing path. When life feels painful, the heart naturally focuses on what's missing. But the secret to healing is to shift your focus even just a little to what you still have. You may be struggling in one part of your life, but there are still blessings surrounding you. The ability to walk, to breathe, to cry, to speak to Allah whenever you want. These are not small things. When you thank Allah for what remains, He gives you even more. And your heart begins to feel lighter, not because the pain disappeared, but because your soul remembered the light. And don't forget the power of giving, even when you feel like you have nothing left. Sometimes when we lift someone else's burden, our own becomes easier to carry. Give from your time, your kindness, your smile. Give a prayer for someone else. Give comfort, even if you're still healing. There's something about helping others that brings our own hearts back to life. Allah sees your giving, and He gives in return in ways you never expect. Sometimes the very peace you've been searching for comes when you stop looking for it and start sharing it. These aren't just actions, they are lifelines. They would carry you through the storm when you feel like you're drowning. Don't underestimate how powerful these small moments are. A single heartfelt dua, a quiet prayer in the middle of the night, a whispered thank you. These are the seeds of healing. They may not change your situation overnight, but they will begin to change your heart. They will reconnect you to Allah. And once your heart is connected to Him, you will begin to feel the strength that was always waiting inside you. So no matter where you are in your journey, whether you're just beginning or struggling to hold on, don't give up. Keep turning to Allah, keep reaching out, even when it feels like your hands are empty. Because in those moments of emptiness, that's when you're most ready to be filled with His mercy. Healing isn't about feeling perfect, it's about feeling held. And you are. Every single day, you are held by the one who knows your wounds, who sees your tears, and who promises that no pain is ever wasted when it's carried with faith. Life today can feel like a constant race, a race to succeed, a race to be accepted, a race to look like you have it all together. But behind all the filters and smiles, so many hearts are breaking, so many people are silently carrying pain they don't speak about. You might be one of them. Maybe you've been in a relationship that drained your soul, where you gave and gave, hoping for something pure, but it left you empty. You wanted something halal, something honest, something safe, but instead it ended in heartbreak, and now you wonder if love was ever meant for you. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to walk away from something that once felt like everything. You try to hold on, hoping they'll change, hoping it will work, but deep down your heart is restless. You lose yourself in trying to be enough for someone who doesn't see your worth. And you forget that your worth was never meant to be defined by another person. It was always defined by the one who created you. So if someone walked away or if something ended, don't let that be the end of your story. Maybe Allah took it away not to hurt you, but to protect you, to clear space for something better, something real, something that brings you closer to Him. And then there's the pressure from family, the expectations, the comparisons. Maybe you feel like you're constantly falling short. You didn't take the path they wanted, you didn't become what they dreamed of, and now no matter what you do, it's never enough. That kind of pressure can feel suffocating, like you're carrying the weight of being good enough, not just for yourself, but for everyone else. But let me remind you, Allah does not look at your life the way people do. He sees your sincerity. He knows your struggles. You are not here to please the world. You are here to walk gently, faithfully toward your purpose, even if others don't understand it yet. And what about those who are struggling silently with their mental health? The ones who wake up feeling heavy for no clear reason. The ones who go through the motions but feel numb inside. Maybe you're smiling on the outside while something inside you is quietly breaking. And sometimes the hardest part is feeling like you can't explain it to anyone, not even the people closest to you. If this is you, please hear this. Your sadness is not a sign of weak faith. It's a sign that you're human. Even the strongest hearts get tired. Even the most faithful people feel low. It doesn't make you broken. It makes you real. So be gentle with yourself. Healing is not a straight line. Some days you'll feel strong. Other days you'll feel like you're starting over. That's okay. Allah never asked you to be perfect. He asked you to keep going. Even if you're crawling, even if all you can do today is whisper His name, that's still enough. That's still powerful. You are not behind, you are not failing. You are on a path that is shaped exactly for you, with tests that are measured for your strength, and mercy that is always waiting at the end of each step. And for those who are dealing with financial hardship, trying to provide, trying to survive, you're not forgotten either. Allah is Ar-Sakif, the provider. Your sustenance is not in someone else's hands, not in the job you didn't get, not in the opportunity that slipped away. Allah provides in ways that go beyond what you can imagine. He opens doors you never knew existed. So yes, work hard, be responsible, but never believe that your situation defines your future. You are never without hope as long as you have faith. In every one of these struggles, relationships, family, mental health, money, the answer isn't in fixing the world around you, it's in repairing the connection inside you, the connection between you and Allah. That's where peace begins. That's where strength grows. That's where you stop depending on things that were never meant to carry you, and you start depending on the one who always will. Is you are still breathing, still trying, still holding on, even if just by a thread. Maybe the answers didn't come yet. Maybe the pain hasn't fully lifted, but you're still here. And that alone is a sign of strength, a sign that Allah is still carrying you. Even if you've stumbled, even if you've doubted, even if you feel far, He's never left you, not for a second, and He never will. He is closer to you than you think and more merciful to you than you are to yourself. Sometimes we just need to stop running, stop trying to fix everything, stop blaming ourselves for what didn't go right, and just sit quietly with Allah. Just say, I don't know what to do, but I trust you. That one sentence said with a trembling heart is more powerful than 1,000 plans. Because when you finally surrender, when you stop forcing and start trusting, that's when things begin to change. Not always around you, but inside you. And once your heart changes, everything else follows. Don't rush what Allah is still writing. What's delayed is not denied. What's taken was never meant to stay. What's coming is already on its way. So leave it in His hands. Leave the worry, leave the weight, leave the past. You've carried it long enough. Now it's time to let faith carry you. And it will, even through storms, even through silence, even through the waiting. Allah is never late. He is preparing you not to break, but to rise. Tonight, when the world quiets down and the noise fades, talk to Him. Just you and Him, no distractions, no fancy words, just your heart open and honest. Tell Him what hurts, open and honest. Tell Him what you need, tell Him what you're afraid of, and then leave it with Him. Walk away knowing you've been heard, you've been seen, you've been loved deeply, completely, unconditionally by the one who created you. You don't have to know what's next, you just have to know that Allah is already there, and that's more than enough. And if this message touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who's struggling. You never know. Your share might be the reason someone finds hope again. And if you'd like more reminders like this, subscribe and stay connected. Let's keep walking this path together, gently, with faith and with trust in Allah.